Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a simple starter home in Inzoi. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on Inzoi news, tips, and more. Starting by drawing a single wall, select the square slider to extend the room. Draw another wall in the front and do the same thing. If you're not comfortable drawing rooms this way, you can also go to the menu, select the square room tool, and just extend it. Next, we'll make a front porch by dividing this front structure and then removing the two side walls by selecting the hammer tool. Next, we'll create a foundation. You can do this by selecting any room with the room selection tool and pulling up. Now we have our foundation for our porch and we'll be able to change the texture of it later on. I want to extend this structure in the front, but as you can see, if I try to use the same method as before, it won't connect because the structure is already up on this foundation. So what you can do is use the room selection tool and extend your room, and if you needed the wall there, you could put it back, or if you were going to remove it, then you saved yourself a step. Next, we'll place the roofs. If you're confused about how to use these sliders, I do have in-depth tutorials on my YouTube channel on how to rotate and scale objects in Inzoi. There are two ways you'll be able to connect your roofs in Inzoi. For the first method, hold down Alt and pull the square slider. Depending on the structure, this method may not always work, so if you find that it's not working, you can pull the small green arrows without holding Alt and you'll be able to connect your roofs. For the front roof, I'm going to again hold down Alt to be able to connect the roofs, and I'll raise this one behind a little bit. It's not completely seamless, but again, this is early access. For the roof on this side, you do have a couple of options, but what I'm going to do is first adjust this roof here by holding down Alt and using the blue sphere. As you can see, pulling the green arrows doesn't hide the end of this roof. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Alt and pull this square slider and just pull it straight across. And now it looks like a nice gabled roof. To change the texture of the roof, select the roof and select the paintbrush icon. When editing the roof, you'll notice on the side you have several options for editing. The first one, of course, you'll notice is the exterior roof, which is the part of the roof that you see the most. So I selected black for that portion, and then I selected black for the verge as well, which is that seam that goes around the gable of the roof. The gable is the front-facing part of the roof, which I have not chosen the color for yet, but you'll use a similar method, and the same method will be used for changing the foundation, as you can see here, and we'll use that method for the walls as well. Floors, ceilings, pillars, many of these things can be changed by just selecting and then choosing the paintbrush tool. You'll have several options, and you can also upload your own textures to the game. On the right, you'll see the little folder icon with the arrow. By clicking that, you can access files on your computer to upload textures to the game. The icon to the left of the folder icon, the sparkle icon, is an AI tool that you can use to generate an AI texture. If you don't want to upload your own files, you can simply type in a description and the game will generate a texture for you based off of the description that you type in the box. When designing a room or building a structure, you usually want to stick with 3 colors for the design of the structure or room. For the exterior of this build, I chose 3 contrasting colors, which are white, black, and a creamy sort of tan color for the light coloring of the wood. One great thing about choosing colors for Inzoi is that you can copy and paste the exact color onto different structures. So if you choose a color for your wall, for example, for my wood paneling, I chose a light colored wood. And I want to make sure that I can utilize that exact color in different structures for my build. So the railings will be the same color. Here I'm showing you an example of how you can change the color of the gable for the different sides of your roof. This one extends all the way to the other side, but the front is black and we don't need black on the back, we need white. So I placed 2 separate roofs, and if that seam at the top bothers you, you can lower the roof slightly and the seam will disappear. Here I want to extend the back of the structure, but I don't want to extend the entire back of the structure. So I made a little notch and I'm selecting it and pulling back to make a little bump out in the back so that I can make a deck and it will sort of sit in there seamlessly and not stick out in the back like a sore thumb. Here I use the same roofing method where I pull the roof all the way to the front of the structure, and I decided it didn't look that great, so I pulled it back and I'm just going to adjust the roof a little bit. There wasn't a lot that I could do to avoid pulling it all the way to the other side, so there is a small space at the top of the structure where there's no roofing. This is early access, so keep that in mind. I think eventually they will fix things like that, and we will have other options to hide weird anomalies like that. Like, for example, the verges, I'm sure we'll have different variety of verges, some that are thicker and that will hide small spaces like that when the roofing isn't perfect. Finishing up changing the texture and color of all of the wall faces on the structure of the home, being mindful to stick to my 3 color scheme, which is white, black, and this light wood color. Don't forget to also change the color of the ceiling in your game, which may not always be necessary, but for the front porch, I think the black looks a lot better than the white. And same with the floor. To change it, you'll select it and hit the paintbrush tool to select all your options. Next, we'll place the front porch stairs. While grasping the stairs, you can rotate them by hitting the right mouse button or hitting C or Z on the keyboard. And again, you'll use the paintbrush tool to choose the colors of your stairs. You'll choose the railings, stairwell, etc. For these ones, I chose black steps, and then I copy and pasted the exact color of the wood paneling for the railings and the rest of the stairs. I'll use the same wood coloring for the fencing that I'm adding here. Again, you can just copy and paste it right in there, and now it's exactly the same as the stairs and the wood paneling for the siding of the home. Next, I'll add the door and the windows to the outside of the home. Considering this is just base game, I can't believe how many options we have for doors and windows. And the fact that you can change every detail of every door, including the doorknobs, little panels, and the frame. If this is what we have to work with in early access, I'm so excited to see what this game has in store. If you haven't checked out the Inzoi roadmap already, definitely check it out. We have so many exciting things to look forward to this year that are included with early access. Pools, hotkeys, pets, all in base game, all part of early access, and I just can't believe how many features they've included with the base game for this game. There are so many trees, flowers, and bushes that you can use for your landscaping. You can freely place these items by holding Alt, and you'll be able to place them in places you wouldn't normally be allowed to place them. For instance, that tree, the branches are kind of going into the roof, and holding Alt overrides the game's built-in grid. You can also turn off the grid snapping by clicking the horseshoe icon at the top. I tend to leave it on because I do use it for a lot of things because I don't like to view the grid. For me, it's not ideal unless I'm trying to line something up and I'm struggling. I will usually keep the grid off. So snapping to grid is helpful for me unless I'm placing clutter or roofs or things like that. And since we made that small bump out in the back, that back porch fits in there perfectly. And it's a nice little seamless build instead of it just sticking out randomly in the back of the structure. Feel free to adjust your roofing throughout building. Just make sure you're holding Alt when you do so or your clicks may not take. Finishing up adding windows to the back of the house here and over on the side, and You can hold down shift to continuously place an item like windows or landscaping, or you can use the little copy tool on the icon menu that pops up when you select an item. Here I'm really utilizing the shift and alt key to place the landscaping kind of close together and quickly so I don't have to spend a lot of time on it. I'm placing a rock border here with the same method, and I'll rotate it after I place all of the pieces because it's just a little faster than rotating each piece after placing it. There are a ton of different types of rocks, sizes, colors, and I think that's awesome. I think it would be really cool if they eventually add the ability to size up and size down objects in the game as well. I know that hotkeys are definitely on the roadmap, so hopefully that'll be part of it, and if it's not, hopefully we will see it in our future at some point. There are several ways to create walkways in the front of your home, but on certain lots you may find that you're a little limited as to how far out you can go with your stepping stones. So here I'm going to just place a few of these large ones to create sort of the appearance of a walkway, and you can bring it back towards the back of the house so that it leads towards the backyard and the deck. There aren't any landscaping paint tools yet, but that may be something they add in the future. For now, if you don't like how this looks with the grass underneath, you can either really crowd up the plants, or you could make square or rectangle flower beds with the floor tool or the platform tool and just use a texture that looks like dirt or pebbles. Just finishing up the landscaping in the front here and adding a couple of potted plants, and the main structure and landscaping of our house is almost finished. Another cool building feature that Inzoi provides is that you can change the lighting in build mode. So if you're placing your outdoor lighting structures, you can make it nighttime and you'll be able to see just how bright everything will look if it's placed properly, and once you're finished you can move that slider back to daytime. It's also really useful for decorating different sides of the house because obviously on certain times of the day the sun is going to shine on different walls. So by adjusting the slider you can make the surface that you're working on brighter or dimmer. For the finishing touches of the landscaping, I'm of course going to add some trees. I'll place some larger boulders also, and usually some bushes or shrubbery around the bottom of the trees to make it look more natural instead of just a random tree growing out of the ground. Eventually, when they give us landscaping paint tools, what I would normally do is I would put a little bit of dirt paint underneath the tree to make it look a little more natural. So for now, add plants, add rocks. Here I'm adding the fence and it took away my stones. So if that happens to you, don't worry about it. Just replace your stones and move on. You'll see the same thing ends up happening on the other side. When I place the fence, it does end up removing the trees, so I just end up replacing them, which is fine. To prevent this, you can simply place your fence first and then do the landscaping in the front if you think it will be up against your fence. And now we have a simple starter home that you can decorate to your heart's delight. It is the perfect price for a brand new Zoi. It has everything you need. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe and check back for more Inzoi tips and tutorials.